What would be a word you would choose to describe it? And then, of course, you can expand on why you chose that word.
Underappreciated. I don't think football fans, I don't think the country appreciate the importance of Raheem Sterling. I think the media took a little bit of time, and then individually and collectively we spent time with him. I went over to his house, spent some time with him, just sort of talking about football, talking about society, talking about racism, talking about how the media can improve, reflecting the sort of greater diversity of the national team and obviously of the country. And Raheem's one of these individuals that he's got a particularly big ego. I mean, his house is quite straightforward by footballers' standards. It's not particularly flash. There's obviously a big goal in the garden where he practices, and people said, "Oh, he's got this huge garage for all these flash cars." One of the first things he did when he bought the house south of Manchester was turn the garage into a gym. So he works out a lot. I mean, you don't get to his level, his consistency for clubs and country without looking after yourself. And so he's a supreme professional. I think he still feels slightly as an outsider, which I think is really sad. And it comes back to this underappreciated element, Alex. I don't think even with the national team, and I think probably only Harry Kane, the captain, is as important to Gareth Southgate as Raheem Sterling. Raheem always reports. He always gives everything. He's always, he basically carried England through the group stage before Kane found his shooting boots at the Euros last year. He's incredibly important, and not simply on the field, but off the field as well. In terms of the younger players, they all look up to him. In terms of he's got the north and the south because of where he obviously grew up in the west of London with his QPR roots, then going to the north to Liverpool and the Manchester City, as you've been talking about. So, he's such an important figure in the national team, and I also think in the national debate. Whenever there are important issues going on, whether it's diversity, whether it's politics, or whether it's the media, Raheem is often called upon by the sort of slightly more sort of rarefied media outlets to go and actually give his take on life and society. And you can see Raheem being quite happily on the cover of Life, as well as the Times of Sports section. He covers many areas because he's such an intelligent, interesting individual. And just little things like when the whole furore came out over his gun to two, he sat down with the main England reporters and actually explained what it was. It was sort of almost a tribute, homage to his father who was slain when Raheem was only 2. So, there's a lot of backstory to Raheem. There's a lot of very interesting character, not flash at all. People occasionally throw the bling criticism at him, but that's absolute nonsense. And he is underappreciated as a footballer and as a person by this country and by this sport.